What's up, everyone? We've got a lot to talk about tonight, so I'm not going to waste your time with this little intro thing that I normally do. Let's get this thing started. Welcome to the Podcast of Champions. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
And the air leaves Allang Stadium in one large exhale. Trouble. Arozarena's beat. Orange County opens the scoring. It's Thomas. Kuninga scores! The old guard with a new trophy.
This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. Follow us on Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast or on Facebook at Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora, and I'm going to take you through this wonderful journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. Joining me as he does each and every episode since day one, the man from County Line Coalition himself. That's Dylan. Dylan, look at we're coordinating our colors tonight. This is awesome. How you doing, Dylan?
Yeah, we look very cute tonight, Ray. I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here as always.
And it's not just tonight. We always look very cute, Dylan. Let's just say it right now. For those that don't watch our stream, you should be checking it out instead of listening to the podcast version of things. Normally, we would head down south for our next introduction, but let's actually stay local. But he may be down south in the near future. Filling in for Alan tonight, we've got Cameron from A Mouthful of History, who I guess recently got accepted to go down to San Diego to do some further education. Cameron, welcome back to our podcast. What kind of noises can we expect out of you today?
Short term right now, I was at the Sacramento game last weekend, so I'm ready to talk about that. But yeah, going to San Diego State to get a master's degree in history. So looking forward to that. Got 4 months still up here, so still gonna be out and about and a part of it, you know.
So we'll have to coordinate with you and Alan. You guys can figure out where the best spots to go in San Diego and hang out a little bit more. And just don't become a Loyal fan. That's all I'm going to ask. Just don't change your allegiance to Loyal.
I bleed orange and black, Ray. That will never change.
Awesome. You should probably see a doctor about that.
I know, right? If it was yellow, I would have got it. Well, if it was yellow, it would have been jaundice, and we would have been real terrible.
Turning into a scientific pod here instead of history or soccer. Let's head north and to the west a little bit to our fourth member of tonight's main episode team here, and that's Brad. Although Brad's going to sit out for the first part of this match because he didn't really catch the Sacramento Orange County match much. I didn't either. I'm going to rely on Cameron and Dylan. But how you doing, Brad?
I'm doing quite well. I'm wearing a vintage hat, and the musical went quite swimmingly. I enjoyed it very much. So that's what I was doing Saturday night for a change instead of watching soccer.
Perfect. And what we're going to do is let me introduce some guests that we're going to have joining us. They're going to be welcome to hang out as long as they want tonight. When we made it to this next round of the U.S. Open Cup, I reached right out and said, hey, does anyone from Heart of LAFC want to jump on our pod and help us out with this? Because as much as we love soccer here in Southern California, we probably don't follow LAFC as much as these guys do. So let's introduce them, and then they can let us know if they want to hang out for a long period of time or if they want to chill out in the green room and wait for their time to come up. We're just going to go on the screen here. What I see, we've got Bam, LAFC Australia. You're in Australia, right?
Yeah, I'm in Melbourne, Australia. So it's currently 1:36 p.m. tomorrow for you guys.
Yeah, so he's in the future, everyone. So this is an awesome thing. First time we've had someone from the future on our show. Welcome, Bam. We also got I'm going to just guess Joseph, but is there another way to pronounce that?
Joseph works for me, man. Thank you for having me on tonight, guys. This is awesome.
Yes, and then last but not least, we'll introduce Tony. Tony, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for having us on tonight, you guys.
Oh, no, we're excited about this. We're excited to learn about our opponents. And this is really an amazing thing for the Orange County fans playing against a Major League Soccer MLS team and getting to travel to the Banc, which I think a lot of us are excited from what I last heard. It's a good number of tickets that have been sold for that match, at least through Orange County's ticket sales. I think the number tops 400 of tickets sold to come out to the match, which if you didn't know our club, I mean, that's a good amount for a traveling match to make it out there. For our small little Division II squad. Again, you guys can hang out with us, or if you want to go back to the green room, just let our producer know in the chats, and he can shoot you back to the green room if you don't want to hang out. We do have a match to talk about really quick before we get to this preview for LAFC. Orange County this past weekend played a match at home against Sacramento Republic, and I think Orange County still, at least in league play, trying to figure out where the gas pedal is and try to get on a roll. But we've talked about in this past, Orange County tends to get off to slower starts earlier in the season. And then we do know that this season there's been more of an emphasis on the U.S. Open Cup. So that could play a part, even though I think we saw a pretty strong lineup from Coach Richard Chaplow. Let me go to you, Cameron, because you mentioned first and foremost that you were there at the match. You saw it. What did you see out of this match from Orange County? Positives and or negatives in this match?
Well, I always go back to what Braden Cloutier said about analyzing teams, like wait till after 10 games to get a better idea. It's game number 6. It's getting close to that 10. And the only positive that I could take from that game is that we probably should have won it. Like, despite how I would think we were second best the entire night, but had Milan Olaski put that ball in the back of the net in the second half, we could have won in spite of not playing well. I just think that what Richard Chaplow is trying to get out of this team is still a work in progress. I think we had trouble playing the ball out from the back. Sacramento was on top of us in terms of pressing. I mean, obviously Michael Orozco being out for the match leaves the team with very little stability. And I just found that we just couldn't sustain anything in the attacking half. Like, I think it was around the 85th minute, and I checked the stats on FootMob, and it was like we had 73 passes in the opposition half, whereas Sacramento had double that. And it's still a work in progress, but it's getting close to that proverbial 10-game mark to where we really know where this team's going to be at.
Let me go to you, Dylan. We're watching the highlights here. A couple things we're noticing from this highlights is that early goal was a pure mistake from a defensive standpoint and a goalkeeping standpoint. Probably with Michael Orozco out of the lineup, it's that lack of maybe leadership on the defensive end. Also that lack of pace that we've talked about early on in the season by playing the back three and some bigger, slower guys in that back three, especially on that right side. Who was more to blame on that? Was it the defense, or was it Patrick Rakowski on that initial goal, Dylan?
Oh, that's 100% on Scandy. I mean, this is like shades of Alex Cronali against Phoenix in 2018. Just lazy, misreads a ball 90 seconds into a match, not really ready for it. And I mean, what's Rakowski supposed to do there? He has to put some pressure on, but once he gets out of his box, does he take an early red card and we play with 10 men and a backup goalkeeper for 89 minutes? Just it's just disappointing. And maybe he's not cut out for it, but we're kind of at the same situation that we were last July when Cloutier was fired, where we don't really have any fit defenders. And so who is fit is who will play. And we're going to have to figure that one out quickly. And hope that guys like Brent Richards and Michael Orozco get fit and come back.
Yeah, Brent Richards is probably a strong miss in that back defensive lineup. One positive we saw from the match is we did see Cubo Torres get his first goal of the season for Orange County. Although it was from the penalty spot, it's still, I like to look back, when you look at even the basketball analogy, right? You get that first layup or that easy shot, and it sort of opens things up for you. So the hope for Orange County fans is that PK will open things up for Kubo and potentially lead to some goals from him. Because at this point, the only one really scoring goals, or there's two players really, is Milan Olaski and Ugo Okoli are the only two that have really scored for Orange County. You need that third presence up there on the attack. And I know there's an emphasis on Kubo there. Any last thoughts from either you, Cameron, or Dylan before we move on to bigger and better things to preview this LAFC match?
I got two thoughts. So throughout the match, like in the first half and in part of the second half, like I just think Kubo is left isolated. I think he's not someone that's going to go up and challenge defenders. Like he got beat all night by Sacramento center backs. And I think if just we had that link between defense and attack, I think Milan Alaski is a baller. And I think he is going to be our X factor this season. I think, maybe we should try out Ugo and Kubo, the Ugo Kubo combination up top. Maybe have Ugo knock down balls, feed Kubo, and feed Alaski. I think that could be a good idea in the future. And also, the ref was an absolute disaster show. I've never seen. That game was so piss poor. In terms of officiating. Like Sacramento would give a hard foul against Orange County, would not get called. Orange County did the same thing. Then it's a foul, and I'm sure a player had gotten sent off. The refs just forgot who it was. Like for a second yellow, he was like, my God, it was terrible.
I mean, that's USL. We're used to horrible officiating. I mean, I don't know what it's like in the MLS, gentlemen, but in the USL, we have some pretty horrible officiating. It's sort of in our early days of a show when it was just me and Dylan here. Pretty much every episode we spent about 10 minutes complaining about the officiating in matches and how horrible things went. We've sort of evolved past that a little bit, but Cameron's, I guess, old school and likes to get back onto getting on the officiating. But yeah, I mean, you could always say there's always excuses for horrible officiating when it comes to the USL Championship. Really quick, we'll move on. But first, I want to get into our prediction standings. I don't know if our producer has this pulled up. We did our predictions last week, and we'll see if we have this. I don't know what the scores here. Brad, you're our official record keeper for this. How are we doing so far?
Well, Dylan predicted a 1-1 draw, and he's on a roll, taking an early lead. For those of you guys who have not watched, we pick games scores every week. Our scoring is kind of weird, which is why everyone's all over the place. If you predict a correct score, you get a full 10 points if that's both teams. For both the result, 4 points for a result, 3 points for each team, so that adds up to 10. But if you don't do that, well, you can still earn partial credit because we're generous like that, I guess. So Dylan is currently in a lead with a full correct game score over myself. Then Alan in third, and Ray in last, and everybody else amongst people who guess scores can find their name somewhere on that list.
And remember, we've sort of made the commitment. If any of the listeners can beat the top score out of the four of us, we will find some sort of prize we can provide you, depending on how many winners there are. The prize may be really nice, or it may be a simple prize if we have to give away 20 things. So participate, share your predictions as we go through this. And by the way, I just want to call out for our LAFC viewers and guests on this show tonight. That logo for Orange County is not LAFC colors. It's the USL Championship official colors. So I just want to make sure you guys know we're not trying to, give you guys some love tonight. It's really just based off the USL Championship colors. But let's get into this. This is the reason I think a lot of people are tuning in for this or are going to listen to this episode. And it's to talk about this upcoming US Open Cup match as Orange County SC will be traveling up I-5 to get to the Banc. I have not been up in that area of California in quite some time, probably since I was a Clippers season ticket holder in the year that Blake Griffin was supposed to be a rookie, but got injured in the preseason. So I had to go through a full season of watching Chris Kaman and pretty much no one else
old man.
Doing that.
You're a glutton for punishment. I get it.
So
for sure.
Back then when I drove by that area, it was the sports arena. It was not the Banc of California Stadium. So I'm sure it looks a lot better and it's a lot nicer than it used to be back in those days. But that's why we brought our friends here from Heart of LAFC. Unfortunately, we sort of gave you guys some information. Now you got to see some highlights from our last match. You can go now share with the players what they need to do to sneak past the defense. But let's get into this talk. a few years back, there was this partnership between LAFC and Orange County. Didn't quite work out for either squad. I recall the year we started this podcast, you guys ended up loaning a bunch of players to Phoenix, which is our like arch enemies in the USL Championship, and they ended up, beating us on our field with some of your players, which was really disappointing. Since then, both teams have split that partnership and have moved on. We've partnered with Rangers in Scotland. You guys have partnered with Las Vegas Lights FC. Let's talk about that. You guys have probably been fans for a while. Do you guys remember that partnership? Did you guys even know about Orange County back then, or did most LAFC fans have no idea who Orange County was even back then?
Actually, I went to some games when you had the temporary stadium. It was after the partnership was announced. We actually, a lot of us went down to try to support a little bit, and see what was going on. But in all honesty, it was really kind of a one-sided relationship, and it wasn't a big one. Like, it was more in name than anything else. So it was unfortunate. We can kind of see some of the similarities with Vegas right now, where that's even crazier, where we're pretty much running the team. Right. But with OC, it just didn't seem to really take off. And we seem to have a much greater connection with Phoenix, which is strange, a little strange, but it just didn't work out. And to be honest, the new relationships that everybody has now with Rangers being involved and Vegas, our teams on both ends of it, I think ended up better anyway. So
I'll agree with that comment. I think fan bases for both teams probably are liking the relationships a little bit better. With LAFC, you guys have more control of what Las Vegas is doing. You guys can sort of tell them, hey, we want this to happen, which I think wasn't the case with Orange County. I think if we look back a few years, just talking with our connections at the team, it wasn't like Orange County was going to be told how to play players. One instance I can recall was it Nico Zornamaz or whatever that you guys loaned down to us. And I think LAFC wanted us to be playing him like every match. And our front office and our coaching staff said, no, he's not good enough to play in our lineup. So we're not going to give him the minutes if he's not ready for it. So luckily you have that. And I think Orange County fans are excited with the Rangers partnership. LAFC has been off to a great start for MLS action this year. What's behind that start? And is this a legitimate start, or is this sort of a, early season shimmer that may not hold up for the full season? Whoever wants to jump on that, go for it.
I'll jump right on it. To be honest, I think this team is stronger and deeper than the one that won a Supporter Shield. There's more weapons on this team now than when we had back then. There's also a different way that we score goals. We're not, dominant with one player. It's shared. So goals are shared, setups shared. We're scoring on dead balls, which is something we've never been very good at, but now we are. We're getting shutouts in the second half. We haven't let a goal in the second half this year yet, which is really strange. Starts are shaky at times, but ultimately, it looks more solid. The players are a little older than what we've seen in the past. We have some veteran presence, so I think the buzz is real. I feel it is, and they're only going to get better as players get healthy and a new DP will be coming in. So, all good things for us right now, as far as I'm concerned. There was one loss, and that was controversial. Nobody's done talking about that one.
Yeah.
Well, we're feeling good about it.
I know Tony and Bam looked like you both wanted to jump on that question too. I'm going to go alphabetically. Bam, go for it.
With the new signings we brought in this season, it's just increased our depth so much. So already knowing from the press conference earlier today that we're not sending out our usual starting 11 again to you guys. We'll be rotating a few of our players. So with that, although it's not a starting 11, it's still going to be a strong competition for you.
Tony, what are your thoughts?
It's like pretty much Bama says, like we have, and Joseph said, we do have depth, and depth spread out, because like the last couple seasons we've always had like our right back has always been stacked, and so we couldn't choose who we would be weak on the left side. We only had like maybe one defender that could play left side and stuff like that, or then it got switched to the left back, where we were stacked for one season. But overall, we finally we're depth wise, we can literally interchange players super easily. There's nothing. Well, it's also the coaching style too. We're no longer in this is Bob's way, this is how we go. You just keep hitting yourself against the wall and not change anything. With Dolo, make arrangements, make changes to suit what the game's going on forward. And of course, the best thing that I love, Joseph loves, and Bam loves is we have leadership in the keeper position that we've never had, because we've had a rotating presence back there for the past 5 seasons or 4 seasons. This is our 5th.
Yeah,
It's been weak.
Yeah. It's nice when you can have a solid goalkeeper in between the sticks. We even a season ago we had a sort of competition between goalkeepers when we had Abraham Romero and Patrick Rakowski between the sticks, and it wasn't until Richard Chaplow took control and said we need a solid one keeper in there, and Rakowski got the job, and coincidentally we went on a nice run to win the USL Championship Cup there on that. So it's a struggle when you have to rotate goalkeepers. And we've gone through that in the past, because we had seasons where we had 2 or 3 goalkeepers that had to make appearances, whether it was because of injuries or just you didn't have a pure number one on there. Let me ask this, and I'm going to just go around. I'll go back to you, Joseph, on this one. You can start off. Some MLS teams sort of take the Open Cup sort of lightly for the first round or two, and then if they magically get past some of the lower league competition, then they start taking it seriously. I know Orange County, the ownership, the front office has come out and said this year we want a deep cup run, and part of that is now facing LAFC. Is from what you see, I think it sounds like there's going to be a rotation, which makes obvious sense because you guys played on Sunday, so just a few days rest there. Do you see LAFC maybe looking past Orange County, or just maybe playing this match as if we can win, great. If not, we don't really care. We're more focused on MLS. Or are they really looking at a deep US Open Cup run, in your opinion?
I think they're desperate to make a deep Open Cup run. They want to get back to the Champions League, and the quickest way to get there is the 6 wins in the Open Cup. It's that simple. They know they need it. We had our supporter shield. COVID kind of killed our chances for other trophies. I know our best Barcelona we had at the time was lost on a COVID year. So now this is the next thing. It's the closest thing we can win, and I think they're legit about it. Now, when they talk about rotation, they're not taking Vegas and putting Vegas on the field tomorrow. That's not the rotation they're talking about. It's talking about the guys that are getting a limited play time, coming back from injury. It's a deceptive rotation, because some of these guys that are going to come in tomorrow that haven't been playing by mid-season could be starters anyway. So yeah, it's rotation, but they're taking it serious.
I'm gonna hand it off to Dylan, because I've been doing all the talking here and question asking. So I want to let my other co-hosts jump in on this. Dylan surprisingly is being given the opportunity to ask a question here. I don't know if he has one for you. Who knows? Let's see.
No, you've just dropped this on me like 2 seconds before you've brought this up to
Well, I
everyone.
expected Joseph to go a little bit longer with his answers, so blame him.
Fair enough. It's early days in the season, but could you 3 provide us with so far your player of the season that you think will feature in tonight's match? Maybe signing, new arrival.
Tonight's match.
I'll let Bam start. I don't know. You
Yeah.
Dylan's hanging out with Bam already in Australia.
Yeah.
Talk about tonight's match.
So to be honest, it's going to be Chicho Arango. He's going to be the player to watch, because as you know, when we picked him up, he was kind of a signing that none of us even heard about. And that's one thing about our front office, is we look for players in South America that you probably don't hear about until they're here in the MLS or they've had wind or something. But he's been on he just came off Colombia, his first start with Colombia ever. Then he came back, got COVID. So he's been coming back from that. Injuries, not set wise, but when he gets rolling, it's kind of hard to stop, because he's that grinder goal guy. Like he'll take the punches, he'll take anything. You'll just always see him there. So he is honestly the player to watch at this game, I feel like.
Bam,
Yeah, do you have another
it?
name, or do you agree with what Tony had to say?
I agree with Tony, but I'm going to throw out another name that has done quite well for us in the past. Hasn't featured much so far this season, but I'm going with the Moose, Dane Muskowski. I reckon he's probably going to get a start, and he's something to keep an eye on as well.
Dirty that. We see the Reno hat over there. Good stuff. Good stuff.
That was going to be my question to ask during the funny questions as well. Where's the Moose?
Yeah, for those that don't know that. that don't listen to us, Brad was a Reno supporter, but when they folded, apparently he loved when me and Dylan, when he chauffeured us around town, and he fell in love with Orange County from that experience. So he became an Orange County fan. He's the one and only official member of the County Line Coalition.
Washoe
What is
County
it?
Coalition.
Washoe County.
It's because you guys drink Malort.
Let me ask my LAFC guest here. Have you guys tried Malort before?
Never
What is
heard of
that?
it.
Me neither. What is that?
Don't learn.
It's pure rubbing
Just,
alcohol.
don't.
long story short, very bitter alcohol. And they're drinking a lot of it in Chicago tonight after losing to DC. No, after losing to Union Omaha. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to be drinking a lot of Malort in Chicago tonight.
By the way, shout out to
I love he
Victor
always has that ready.
at Omaha. I visited them last year, went to a game there last season. They've got something special going on there, so I'm really happy to see them get a big win here. Maybe our team watch that too and take it a little more serious tomorrow as well, knowing that you are mortal in this. So yeah,
I know that's probably one of the benefits of playing on the second night is because you get that reminder that the MLS teams aren't this superior group of teams to some of the lower league teams. And you look at like a Union Omaha, that's 2 levels below MLS. That's third tier soccer taking it. We've got a little bit of a connection because one of our players was on loan there last year, won the championship with Union Omaha. So it was awesome to see. Let me I don't think we got an answer from you, Joseph, on that player to watch or player that has been the sort of early season MVP for LAFC.
the fun part again is it's spread. The goals are spread. There's some shocking stuff that we've seen. I think in this match, if Hollingshead does get a start, I think he'd probably be on left back because then Escobar gets to get back in the lineup. If it's him, he likes to score from the D. You know, he comes up, he gets into the mix. He's trouble on dead balls, so that's good. I would say Opoku, who even though he's not a new signing, he missed last year due to injury. So nobody really knows about him until now. And he's been a spark plug for us since he's come back into the lineup. He'll be good. I look at Ilie, getting him Kansas City. He's going through a bit of a vintage part of his career here. And seeing him come back and get really energized to be here is good. Fall could be the story. I don't think he'll sit for this game simply because he's young. He can take the tough schedule, so he would make sense to be there. But there's so many weapons on this team, and the goals are coming from everywhere. I can't say just one. They can get you from anywhere on this team.
And you look at with Fall as well, he's missing the next MLS game for us.
Yeah.
Well, also I was going to add like Hollingshead role. If in our podcast we Joseph has a bet going on that Hollingshead is going to score more than B-Rod, because if you look at his track record, he can score a lot. Even though he's a defender, he's always there to head the ball. And one of the games where he had the brace, and then the other one, which is from the outside, which was just a nice like strike there too. So it's one of those things where it's like we have this bet where B-Rod is good, but Hollingshead may score more than him.
Yeah, he averages 5 goals a year, and he's sitting here halfway there, right? Over halfway there. So it's going to happen. I mean, he's going to be deadly. Fall, if they both play on corner kicks, you have 2 major targets now on corners, which we've always been bad at corners, and now we're not bad at it anymore. Again, big changes for the team. So that's going to be good. I don't expect Vela to start. So if we were like looking to see Vela play, I doubt it.
I don't want to see him play. So, I mean, that's all good. If you don't want to play him, don't play him. I don't want to watch him. I'm not one of those people that's coming to the match wanting to see the big names. I'd love to see you guys start all the, bring your youth squad out there and play so Orange County can get the victory on that. Let me go. Brad, do you have a question for our guests here, or are you just enjoying listening to this conversation?
I'm just enjoying listening to the conversation, but I guess quickly, what does so your guys' coach Chirondolo, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is he doing differently this season that wasn't working for Bradley last season?
I think it's getting more experience into his lineup, trusting rotation of the lineup, moving people around, having the willingness to change things, even though it's a 4-3-3. And yes, they press. You see the counter press. It's real. He's more selective in when he on the decision making from his backs. With Bradley, it was the constant push, always getting caught out. just hoping transition would be fine. And in this team, they pick and choose as they go. So I think that's a big change. Also, they're not afraid to play it up the middle. It doesn't always have to be around and cross, or around and cut. Now they'll go up the middle too. So they vary things, and they're not afraid to reset. Bradley teams, reset didn't seem like much of an option. They were going to go for that chance. If it didn't happen, oh well, goal kick, move on. Now it's no, let's maintain a little bit more. So it's varied now, and that's what makes them stronger.
Bam or
And from-
Tony, do you want to jump? I think Tony wants to jump in on that.
Bam,
Or Bam?
go first.
Bam, go for it.
For me, it's also we're not playing Vela ball. It's not give it to Vela first, give it to Vela, give it to Vela, give it to Vela. Now it's Vela's over there. He might get it. We've got Chicho, we've got Sifu, we've got all these other players that can carry the ball, and we're not having to worry about on one person, which B Rod was always going. If you don't give it to Vela, you're going to sit next game.
Yeah, and to add to that, it's also with Dolo. It's also you guys seen him of course when he's playing with the lights, but he knows how to develop youth players, and that's what we've finally changed in our lineup is we have more youth players, and he knows how to play with them. And granted, it's like he got as everyone when we signed him, people even in our end were like, out of all the coaches you could have signed, it was Dolo. But we were saying once everyone was this bob in, bob out, we were always saying, like, if you're looking where your next coach is, look at the lights, because that's the reason Dolo came from Germany. And we knew that was going to be the next signing. We had other options to sign, but we kind of believed that it was going to be Dolo. So he already has, like, youth-wise, he's really well, and like his pedigree, as much as is not well established, he's got a coaching license in Europe, and not many coaches in MLS have that.
Let me ask you, gentlemen, because our Dylan, was very upset last season when we made a coaching change. How upsetting were any of you upset with the coaching change there at LAFC, or were you excited about it? Dylan was upset when Orange County fired their coach midseason last year, and he had to sort of swallow his pride because we ended up winning the championship with the new coach. How did it hurt to lose Bob Bradley, or were you guys on the Bob Bradley out train and excited that he was gone and brought in a new coach?
I was more during the season when everyone's going Bob out, Bob out, Bob out. I'm like, what's the point? Where we are at the moment.
You're a Dylan person, because I was the Braden Cloutier out. Let's bring in Richard Chaplow. It worked out for you. You were the let's wait till the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of changing 3/4 way through the season. After 3/4 way through the season, players are going to keep playing the same way. Who are you going to get in? You're going to get in the assistant coach, who already plays that style. So you're not going to change much. At least at the end of the season, clear the slate, all start again. That's me personally. So I was more, you can get rid of him, but what's going to change? Not much. If you do it earlier on in the season, so after 5-10 games, you can still change it. And like I said, we were not Bob out. We were wait for the end of the season and go from there.
Let me give Cameron a chance to say something, because if you didn't know, Cameron isn't just someone that covered Orange County SC. He's actually covered soccer around Southern California. So I think he's done some LAFC stuff in the past. Jump in there, Cameron, because we haven't heard from you for a good 40 minutes here so far.
Well, I mean, I covered the team during the inaugurals, like the first year of LAFC as a club. I mean, first of all, I really think LAFC have never played at a bad level. They've always been in and around that MLS Cup or Open Cup was just so elusive at times. But I think for me, I think Bradley ran his course with the team. I think that it felt like how much could Bradley really improve that team? And I just think that he did all that he could. I mean, frankly, much of the beginning was a lot of mental lapses, a lot of concentration issues. Like, I remember the first 2 years is just how many leads have been blown. But even that, LAFC were still in and amongst the top. Like this is, it's just now it's just getting over. Like for them to get over the line, something had to be done. I mean, personally, Steve Cherundolo, that was kind of like a stunner out of nowhere if you weren't following like the ins and outs of LAFC. But you know, they know what they're doing. But I just felt like when you have the same coach, same philosophy for 4 or 5 years, and if it hasn't brought an MLS like a MLS Cup trophy or US Open Cup, I mean, granted, they did it in the Supporter Shield. It just got stale. It got stale, and I think there's never a good time. I mean, there's a good time to change a manager end of the season, but if things need to get done, they have to get done. Really, it's just it got worn out, got stale.
In a way, they were kind of saved by Toronto, because Toronto came knocking. That made sense. Son's there, dynasty, moving on. It was perfect for him. Historically, Bob Bradley doesn't re-sign with teams. He doesn't have that in his history. He moves on. He has his contract, moves on. There's no real history of him just re-signing with a pro side or a national team. He just goes on to the next project, the next flight, right? So for us, I think we all felt the year after the Supporter Shield was going to be the peak year. That was the year that we were going to get the hardware, and then it was taken from us, right? It was lost because of the circumstances. Long story short, we get to this final time. You could kind of tell with the players, it was getting stale. The system was getting predictable. Everyone knew what the lineup was going to be pretty much before it came out, which if the fans can figure you out constantly, there's something amiss. You're not switching things up. And so I think everybody at the end of it, when it was all said and done, it just made sense. Toronto honestly came in to the rescue, so we didn't have to have that ugly moment, right? Everybody moves on. Everybody's happy. We see it work. In terms of the Bob out thing, I'm in the same boat as everyone else here in our group, where he's got his contract. It ends. This is his last hurrah. Just out of respect for the man, like, he did a lot for us. Kicking him to the curb, but to me would be an off move, especially since there was only a few months to go and we were in a team that was decimated by injuries for most of the season. It was not consistent because of injury. There was no team, I don't care who you put as coach, with the injuries that we had, there was no way they were going to make a run. So
my attempt to make Dylan feel bad about being all mad about Braden Cloutier getting fired last season just backfired here, because these guys from LAFC are like, nah, just stick through it to the end of the year, and then move on. But that that's the amazing thing with sports, right? We can all have different opinions on how this works out, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For Orange County, it worked out. And I'm gonna have to talk to Cameron off camera once the show's over, because he's a Tottenham fan. I want to find out, was he like pro Pochettino moving on or being fired at that point, or
why would I get mad at Dad? Why would I get mad at my dad?
Your analysis with this whole Bob Bradley thing sounds like you were pro Pochettino gone. Let's do this. I want to give our guests here a chance to ask us questions about Orange County, so any of their listeners that may have tuned in or may listen to this episode can hear about this team. Because again, I doubt many LAFC fans are watching USL soccer, but if they are, props to them. So, Bam, Joseph, Tony, do you have any questions for us?
Go for it.
My
Bam.
big question is, can your keeper do what he did for that first goal against you guys all game tomorrow?
You should ask that of Albie Skendi.
Yes, let me just say this. The reason Orange County won the championship last season, won the trophy, was because of Patrick Rakowski. He made a huge save early in the match. That was from the penalty spot. It went in a match where if we concede that goal, we probably aren't lifting the trophy at the end of the 90 minutes. And he made a couple other big saves in that match. I think I made the argument last season that his in-play save in the second half was more important than the penalty save, or a bigger save than the penalty save. So you just, on that clip, you just sort of saw.
Save Rakowski.
there is that PK save, right? You saw a probably just horrible situation for him in that Sacramento match where his defender left him high and dry and he tried to do his best, but it was just sort of that no man's land when it comes to goalkeeping, where you're damned if you charge forward and you're damned if you stay back in the goal. It's going to be the same result either way. So hopefully you guys are looking at it and saying, oh, that's all we have to do. Great. And hopefully it doesn't happen. But Rakowski is actually a pretty world-class, not world-class, but he's a pretty good goalkeeper, was in the German youth national team for a while, has played big matches in Europe. Fun fact about him, first goal he gave up was against Lewandowski. So, he's played against some tough competition. So he's not going to be your typical lower level goalkeeper. He's actually a pretty good goalkeeper. Maybe could be considered a fringe MLS goalkeeper when you look at how well he plays. So by all means, don't take it lightly when you're watching Patrick Rakowski out there. He's actually a pretty darn good goalkeeper. Cameron, what do you got to say on that really quick? And I love that he's trying to talk and he's muted. So that's
You're pulling your Brad, Cameron.
I know. So I've been perusing the public comments and I've seen that Marvin is asked this question. I'm assuming OCSC will be 100% starting the first team. Who are the stars to watch out for? So, I think we can all take turns on this. Obviously Cooper Torres, MLS experience, Liga MX player. Start things off. I mean, if you're looking at star power, Dylan's just having this grin all night long.
I agree with Dylan.
And
that facial expression from Dylan says it all.
It's just, I don't know, like he's just a tough man to please and about anything. And so I mean, if you're looking at young talent like Milan Olowski, good technical player, good technical ball player. Kobe Henry, we're looking at Tyler Griffith, U.S. Youth International. Alex Villanueva as well. He was tutored around. I think LAFC approached to sign, but he didn't want to play for the Las Vegas Lights. So now he is with us. So if you're looking at young talent, right there.
I don't think Kubo's the man.
Yeah.
Here, let me call.
I'm just going on star. I'm on star name, and it was just like, all right, like
Yeah, you just went and looked at the list of the Orange County players. So that's the biggest star on the team. Let me call him out. Let me say a name that LAFC fans should watch out for in this match. I'm going to say Miko Kuningas. He's the type of player on the pitch that's going to do his best to get under the opposing team's skin. I wish we had Rob Kiernan on this roster right now, because if you have Miko Kuningas and Rob Kiernan, you're probably going to get a couple yellow cards out of the LAFC players just from them just getting under the skin and bothering you and working hard. And by the way, Kuningas is a fan of a local favorite band here, Social Distortion. He has the long hair, so he, if you watch him, he'll rock out in some celebrations and get that nice blonde hair flowing up and down. But no, he's one of those players that is a quality player. He has a really good left foot. We've seen him on our intro video. For those of you that are LAFC fans that have never seen or heard the name, you saw him score from a set piece in the USL Championship final. And he's one of those players that's going to just get under the skin of the opponents, and he's going to make as LAFC fans, you're probably not going to like the guy. You're going to think he's probably a little bit of a aggressive, maybe even borderline dirty player out there. But he's really he's just a really into the match, and he's a great player to have. And I sort of love the guy too, because last season he did have some sort of issue with his heart in one of the matches where he had to sort of come out of the match and miss the rest of the match because of some, racing heartbeats or whatever. And he's still out there playing. So you got to love a player that's going to go out there and literally put their body on the line for your team and for the crest on the shirt there. So that's going to be the name I'm going to call out. Dylan, do you have a different name? Brad, do you have a different name?
Okay. I'm going to kind of go against what Cameron says, and I think Cubo doesn't start this game. I think in a Open Cup match, middle of the week, I think Ugo is the player that Orange County is going to go with. Ugo Coley,
I hope.
He's a completely different player. He's more of a bruiser. He's going to be the guy who's going to be playing aerial balls, trying to knock them in, trying to knock them down. And he's been one of the pieces that when he comes in, he's come in late in most of our matches, past the 60, 70-minute mark in games. But he's scored almost half of our goals so far this season, 5 games into the season, and then had a start in our last Open Cup game versus LA Force, and I think he bagged a goal in that game too. So that would be the player if he were to start. That's big if. We never know what happens in the mind of a manager sometimes. But if he starts, he's the player I think you need to look out for between him and Milan Olaski. Stretch the field and be more physical in the box are those two players there.
Yeah,
I want to ask
I would
Dylan,
think
any
that.
names other than what
Mhm.
we've named, Dylan?
No, I feel like 5 games in the season and having received 5 points from those matches so far, we don't have a star of the season yet. Or anyone
Perfect.
that is deserving of a star.
Any other questions
So-
for us, gentlemen?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the lineup this season compared to last you won the whole thing. This year seems to be a little bit of a slow start. What is the big change to the lineup this year compared to last that's kind of unsettled them a bit?
We're the USL championship. I mean, roster turnover is a big thing. Dylan, go for it. You have your finger up.
Yeah, we are missing most everyone that was relevant to winning a cup last year. And Eric Calvillo, who has left for what turned to be slightly not greener pastures in El Paso. Milan
Ronaldo
Olaski's
Damas?
brother, Brian, who is currently injured. Yes, someone who scored 17 goals or had 17 goal contributions last season in Ronaldo Damas. Robbie Kiernan's
Power? Sorry,
Jeez,
Dylan.
Brave,
I'm
let me-
cutting you off. Go for
God,
it.
man.
Go for it. Do
Yes.
your thing.
Robbie Kiernan, who loves to talk trash and is a wonderful ball playing defender. And then, yeah, you've got Dylan Powers, who came in and really anchored our midfield. That one is one I feel like Daniel Peterson, Tommy McCabe can kind of do that job. Outside of that, you don't have a Brent Richards. You don't have a Kevin Alston, who experienced former MLS All-Star. Like, there were a lot of exciting players that have moved on that were very integral to the way we played, and there's a lot of experienced heads that have either moved on or aren't playing at the moment. That when it's 90 seconds into a match, there's the 17-year-old to your left is not yelling at you to wake up a little bit because he's a kid, even when you make a brutal mistake.
Well, and the big thing with Ronaldo Damas missing is he was that one player on our roster that you could throw out there and you knew he was going to give his heart for 90 minutes. He wasn't going to slow down. He was going to be full pressure, full energy, running his behind off for a full 90 minutes on there. And we don't really have that when you look at Kubo Torres and Ugo Okoli. As great as those players are, they're not going to be high press on the that side of the pitch for a full 90 minutes. One name that Dylan forgot to mention, Eero Markkinen's not there, and he's such a important part of last season's squad, right? That's sort of a joke. I think that's like
tonight.
Don't
is that like the
don't
second or
tease the
third time I've
guests.
brought up Eero Markkinen from last season. I don't know why I'm picking on him this year. But yeah, it's that's USL Championship. The roster turnover is just normal in the second level of USL soccer. I'm sure you guys have experienced roster turnover in the MLS because that's sort of what happens, but it's probably nowhere at the level that we experience year in and year out here in Orange County. Brad, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think also the biggest thing looking at is we mentioned Brian Olowski and Brent Richards being injured, and that's definitely the biggest thing for me right now. Obviously, Eric Calvillo is with El Paso, but I don't think he's the reason why they're not being successful. He had been called up to the El Salvadorian national team, but seeing players such as who are integral parts of our midfield, and we are a team that definitely does work out of the midfield and look to make a lot of breaks. having players like those two who are integral in getting the ball down the field definitely is missing them is definitely a big part of this dry spell that we've had so far this season.
Makes perfect sense with all the changes that they're still finding themselves 5 games in. That makes perfect sense. I know Orozco was missing in the last game, correct?
Yes.
Has he shown anything so far?
I mean, he's our best defender really out there when you look at the way the defense is lined up. It's just out with a knock, and that's the difficult part of it. And I think Dylan chimed in about this earlier. Is really it's light in the defensive end, especially with what looks to be Richard Chaplow's formation of a three center back, a rotation back there. And when you only have like 4 center backs on your roster, and Michael Orozco's injured, then you're left with the other 3, which is a youngster in Kobe Henry, someone that was playing 5th tier English soccer last season in Skendi, and someone that was Gorski was what?
Canada,
one
previously with Ludin and San Antonio, and before that, the Rowdies.
Okay, so very interesting, and Skendy's like a 6'5", like not pacey defender, and he's being played on the right side of a back 3. So that sort of gives you an idea of where, when you watch the highlights of what's going on, where I think it was Bam that mentioned that early goal that Rakoski gave up. It's because you have really a slow guy there on the right side of the defense. That if you get beat, he's not going to be able to make up that. He's not going to be able to recover if he's beat over there. So that's just the difficulty, is you have 4 center backs and only 3 that are healthy at the moment. Cameron, you're anxious over there, Cameron. You want to say something? Get it out.
Well, I mean, if you're playing a back 3, you want to make sure you're holding possession, right? So you can push your fullbacks forward. A back 3 becomes a back 5. The back 3 becomes a back 5, and you can't play out of that. You have very little options to break yourself out of. If you don't have good ball players, any functioning press beats us. Really,
so
in
Cameron
a way,
doesn't like the back 3, and he's a Tottenham fan, and they play back 3. So.
I think the back 3 can work, but it's just the pieces are like right now. It's just you're playing a back 3 of the makeshift, like probably not as ideal personnel setup at the moment.
And I think that's sort of where you're missing like a Rob Kiernan, who was an integral part of that defense in the championship year. Still hasn't signed anywhere, and the thoughts are that he will be back with Orange County, maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Well, he's been seen on the bench. He's been seen in the warm up.
No official announcement.
No official announcement yet, but he's been in and around the squad.
I love that our producer's making fun of the words I use, but that's what happens all the time. For those of you that are LAFC fans that are listening to us for the very first time, I'm known for butchering words and saying the wrong words and using the wrong language. Tony is raising his hand. I guess that's Tony's job on the LAFC or Heart of LAFC podcast, it seems like. Which, hey, Tony, love it. Hey, that's. Bam, you have an excuse. You can butcher words and no one would know because you have weird Australian words that you might use for stuff. So we wouldn't even know if you're using the wrong word or not, or you're mispronunciating words or whatever it may be.
He makes it look cool anyway.
Yeah, it's an Australian accent. It's like, oh, he knows soccer. He must know soccer. He doesn't have an English accent. Yeah, so it's easier for him. While me, I butchered Hollington's name, Ishmael's name, Max's last name, everything. And it's just like, it takes me like maybe the second try where I'm like, okay, I got it now. But I'm known for that.
I'm going to say this. We try to stay under an hour for our podcast, but I know this episode's not going to go under an hour. So that's a known thing. When it was this partnership with Heart of LAFC, I knew it was probably not going to stay under an hour, but we got to stay as close as we can to that. I'm going to give one last question to you guys. If you have one last question for us before we have to move on, because I want to try and balance it as much as we can. So Bam, Tony, or if Joseph wants to ask this question, who wants it?
I'll jump. In terms of the approach for this game, are you expecting it to be the same for your setup where you're looking for the wing backs to get the work done, 3 in the back, or do you think they might change things up and kind of play a bit of a block against us?
Who wants to take this one? I'm going to shut up on this. I'm going to let Dylan or Brad take this one. Dylan doesn't want it. So Brad, it's all
Can,
yours.
can you repeat it one more time? Sorry.
So are you looking at the same approach that you normally do in USL, where you're looking for the overlap, you're looking for the wing backs to get involved, or is it going to be something where you're more of sitting back more and looking for that occasional counter?
I think we'll see on the actual day how confident this team lines up. But I imagine what it's going to be is we want to do the first, but we're going to do the second. We want to have the possession and control the game as much as we can. But I know that the players are going to go into this probably thinking that they might be outclassed already and sit back a little more than their skill and talent gives them credit for.
I know
kinda
there
wanna
was.
Go ahead, Cameron.
There you go, Dylan.
Okay, Cameron's given up. I feel like for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, if LAFC is a team that is going to start slowly, you might actually see something resembling some attacking play. And if we get an early goal, or if we haven't scored after 15 minutes, it's going to be set up shop, park the bus, 5-0, or 5-4-1. Boring. Let's try and get to penalties, and maybe we can have ourselves a little Union Omaha moment. It worked really well last year in the playoffs. It is not exciting to watch at this point in the season with the issues that we're having defensively. It hasn't worked, but hey, no better time to get it figured out than against some quality opposition.
I'm going to give you a chance, Cameron, but really quick, I want to throw in there, Dylan, you got to watch the match. You can't be bored about that tactic. The negative thing about this year is we don't have Ronaldo Damas to be that counter-attacking, like Tasmanian devil up front, which probably limits what we can do with that type of game plan where you're sort of parking the bus, sitting back and just sort of picking your moments. With Kubo and with Okoli, they're not that style of attacking forward that's going to be able to be successful in that. Ronaldo Damas was the type of player that you can sit back for 75, 80% of the match, but you get one long ball in and trust on that energy and that pace to get a goal, and you get a 1-0 victory, and it's exciting. I love that soccer. I'm the tactician. I love to watch. I always tell people when I'm watching a match, I'm not watching the ball all the time. I'm watching everyone else move around and watching what's going on. And that's where I come from. And that's what I love. And that I love this style of play. I love the chess match is what I'll call it when it comes to this sport. Cameron, last word on this, and then we're going to move on.
I mean, in terms of formations, I don't think we're going to see a deviation from a back three because it's kind of what Richard Chaplow's done the entire season. So I don't expect anything too drastic in terms of setup. But yeah, I think would they like to play possession? Yes. But if we're having a hard time playing possession against USL teams, I don't expect to get better against against some top quality MLS side, even in their bench. So it's just, I guess it's what we call enjoy the moment, as you know what I mean.
Without a doubt.
I think Orange County fans are going to love this opportunity to go to Banc, the Banc of California Stadium, and at least enjoy that moment, like Cameron said, right? At least 400, probably more Orange County fans making that trip. Some of them via bus with the club that the club has actually put as part of a ticket package where you can buy a ticket and get a seat on the bus and get a trip out there, which anyone from Southern California, sorry, Bam, you don't probably know this, but anyone from Southern California knows that is not an easy trip to make on a weeknight from Irvine, California to downtown LA. I was sort of questioning. I for some reason it was in my head that the bus was going to leave at 5:30 from Irvine, which I'm like, we're not going to make it there and get off the bus and be in the stadium in time. But apparently it's a 5:00 departure from Irvine, which is a little bit nicer. So I'm hoping that there's hopefully LA traffic and LA drivers are nice and sort of, go to the curb and let the bus by so we can get there in time and enjoy the moment as fans to watch the kickoff. I will be on that bus. I don't know if Dylan, if you're going to be on that bus. I know Brad won't be because he's up in Reno. So if the only way he'll make it is if he's flying down from Reno. Maybe you and Bam should work it out. You guys are like the away fans right now. Make it a goal to come out and watch the match. Cameron, are you going to be on the bus? Are you driving up there, or are you not watching the match live?
Well, I'm gonna be there. I got credentialed for
Okay.
the match, so I am booking it straight from work.
So Cameron's the one of us that's not going to be a fan. He's actually going to be professional there. So enjoy that opportunity. I chose to not get credentialed because I want to be a fan tomorrow. I want to enjoy that experience as a fan for my first visit to the stadium that was formerly the LA Sports Arena. I did go to a Clippers game there one time, and I did go to a WWE/WWF event there at the Sports Arena a long time ago when I was like 9 or 10 years old. Let's do this. Again, we're running late. I knew this was going to happen, but we're going to get into some random soccer news. I want anyone on this screen right now, if you have any random soccer news you want to share, Bam is all about this random soccer news. He wants to get on this. Bam, so go for it.
Released about an hour ago, the FIFA World Cup Intercontinental Playoffs were announced. So you got New Zealand versus Costa Rica will be kicking off on June 13th LA time. And you have Australia versus UAE on June 6th. Winner of that will play Peru on either the 13th or 14th of June. So 12th or 13th for you guys. They all got announced within the last hour.
There we go. I'm going to jump on here really quick, and I'm sure this isn't like fun news for LAFC fans, but our Alan Underwood, who normally is in the seat where Cameron would be, is a San Diego Loyal fan, and his team lost tonight to LA Galaxy 1-0. So LA Galaxy is moving on in the cup. So I think that's more motivation for you LAFC fans and the team to hopefully win, because I think the goal is always to one up what LA Galaxy can do. So if you were to get knocked out tomorrow by Orange County, that would not be fun for LAFC, both the team and the fan base. So another reason why there's going to be more motivation for LAFC to win this match, but that's how that's gone. Look at that. Tyler watching live on YouTube wouldn't have found out my love for OCSC without first attending my love of soccer at the Banc, or first finding my love of soccer at the Banc. So I think Tyler is a fan of both teams. So I don't know. Is he going to be one of those cool fans that has like a half face paint, half orange, half gold, a half uniform, or half jersey or whatever? No, I think Joseph's like, nope, can't do that.
I hope not. It's wear your colors.
Can you not love both teams? Is that the rule? You can't love both LAFC and Orange County?
Oh no. You could totally love both teams. They play in different divisions. Support your local soccer. Really support your local soccer. When the season's off for me, I go to Fury games for indoor, right? And we all hate San Diego, right? That's what we do. Support the local teams. They need it. They need the support. That's what develops it. So no, support it. But split kits are just cringe to me. Oh man.
Yeah, like I'll even push into like when we were in the CCL, I'm an America fan because for my Mexican league, because my family, when we played them, I was just like LAFC, and there's no like, oh, I win both. It's I'm happy we win, or I'm just pissed off we lost the whole time. So it's the whole thing of like, we in our section, there's a lot of mixture with like as we're calling it, the UFC event on August 3rd. Going to be a lot of split. There's going to be a lot of people trying to be split, but unfortunately, it's like, support your local and support what you've been pushing hard work for. Be a supporter for us if you want when we're not playing, but when you're playing us, support your team, not us.
So really quick for you LAFC guys, Russell has a random soccer question for you all. Do y'all have an idea of what the turnout's going to be of the LAFC fan base? Are they into this match, or is this sort of it's a Wednesday match against the lower division team? I'll watch it on ESPN Plus instead. What are your thoughts? Is there going to be a good turnout from the LAFC fan base?
I'm not expecting a strong turnout. It wasn't promoted too much, right? There wasn't really a lot of promotion opportunity. Parking situation, it's pay as well, like at the moment, which is never cheap. So it seems like that they're only selling a partial area of the stadium, kind of the TV side, and so that right there suggests that definitely they'll limit the space. It's all general admission. You get in, get the best seat you possibly can, and enjoy it. So I'm not expecting a big crowd. I think if we get down farther into this tournament, then yeah, we probably will start seeing crowds show up. But for now, I don't expect a big group. It will fill up, I think, that limited space, and that's going to be about it.
So Tony, really quick, you're over under for what Marvin is saying on there. He's anticipating 15K LAFC support. What's your over under? Are you betting the over or the under on that, Tony?
I'm actually betting that because, like, again, we were, as probably you guys were also, like, deprived of 2 seasons of not going to the Banc, of like going to the stadium and watching the team play. So I know there's a lot of course, our supporters in the 3252 for sure will show up and go hard. And I know this is actually sometimes also a perfect opportunity. Like I tell them, I tell every time on our pod, bring your friends, bring your family, and enjoy the sport. And this is like a opportunity time, because these tickets sometimes get stupid expensive on the aftermarket, and it's like for $30 to watch the team that you've been trying to watch. This is a perfect opportunity. So I agree with Marvin that probably 50K will show up. They'll show up late because of traffic, because you'll see where you'll see where we're located. Like, we're in, as we say, we're an LA team. We're in LA. We're not outside LA. We're in it. And that traffic right there builds up. So
like I said, I used to go to Clipper games. I know what that's like. I know you got those flags waving, trying to get you into those parking lots and get you to park in certain lots, right? But let me just say, Tony, you're not a gambling man, right? You're picking the actual number. You're not going with an over and under. You're going to bet on the 15K. That's what you're saying, right?
I was like, if you want to talk gambling, talk to Bam on that one. He's our
Bam. Over under
gambler.
on the 15K for LAFC fans, not counting the Orange County fans. Are you going with over the under on that 15K number?
I'm going just under. I'm thinking the 13 to 14K. That's where I am. So we get closer. I don't think we get over, but I'm going under. So if you're going to give me money, a lot odds for that, I'm going to go under for that.
Damn, I wish we could get 13K. We can't fit that in our stadium, but that would be awesome if we can get that. Really quick, let's go. I want to give you an opportunity. We like to end each episode with a random thought. It's non-soccer related, just a random thought that you want to share with our listeners. It can be, Dylan likes to usually share about books. Cameron talks about history. Brad has some random weird thought that he shares, maybe sharing about his experience in local community theater. And I tend to say something stupid. So I'm going to let you all do that. But to give you an opportunity, because you didn't know this was going to happen, I'm going to go to Dylan first. Dylan, what's your random thought?
Right now is the perfect time to go lay down on a beach and just breathe in the air and enjoy a good time. And
any specific beach, Dylan?
No, the ones in Laguna might be a little bit better. They're worth the drive. But get to the beach before the zonies do, and just take in some nature. It's a good time.
If you've never been, there's Thousand Steps Beach in Laguna. Like Dylan was talking about Laguna. This is a beach. I'm drinking a beer based off of that. Brad, random thought from you.
So I'm looking at Joseph's screen and appreciating his
Does he have a space? Does he have a space for an OCSC scarf somewhere?
No, it doesn't appear so. But that brings up a story about kind of my disdain for LAFC in some way, shape, or regard. I've never had the pleasure of going to the Banc. I have a twin brother who has had the pleasure, who picked me up a scarf from the team store area, and it got stolen. So
hey, don't talk about stuff and stolen, Brad, because you Reno fans stole a flag from our producer Andy when we made the trip up there. So
we got it back, and it wasn't the group of fans that I was a supporter section of. But never heard back from LAFC's team. What's the word I'm looking for? Support on that. So missing a
we don't hear back from them that much either. It's okay.
You got to remember, Brad was from USL Championship, second division soccer. Let me tell you the story, right? A flag got stolen from one of our supporters, and the general manager got involved in finding that flag at Reno. So, I mean, that's the difference between second division soccer and Major League Soccer. You're not going to probably get the front office of LAFC involved in a measly scarf being stolen from the team store. I'm not trying to say that's a bad thing. That's just the difference in size of a team type thing. I guess Joseph has a different story. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, here's the difference at LAFC. If that happens, talk to the supporters. Like, talk to us. We'll set up a scarf exchange. Like, we're down for that. If you've got a scarf to switch with me tomorrow night, let's do it. I've got one for you. And I will definitely put it on the wall right over here, probably next to Detroit City FC or even Omaha, right? My friends from over there. So happy for both of them tonight. What a night. No doubt. I want an OC scarf up there. I will switch with you guys. I'm all about it. So set it up, guys. I will see you
Reach
guys
out to me
tomorrow
on
with
the
that
Twitter
scarf.
machine right there. I'll set one
Let's
up.
let's make this work. If any Orange County fans have an extra scarf to trade with Joseph and send up to Brad, let's make this work. Brad we'll make this beneficial for everyone, right? We'll find a way to make this work.
Yeah.
Let me do this. Random thought from Cameron.
All right, so I, after many years, have decided to delve into the world of Football Manager because my twin brother Alex decided to play it, and my God, is it stressful! I think I celebrate goals harder in an FM than I ever did in FIFA. I lose my crap when I concede. Like, you can't control anything besides the tactics. Like, first season with Athletic Bilbao, I got him into a Copa del Rey final, got the trophy, but then I managed to cook the team's finances, and we are screwed. And then I decided to do a Marseille save with a Sam Pally tactic, and I went to Twitter to have them write my tactic. Now I gotta write an article about this, what I'm doing. So now I'm just like, I've only played the game for a month. So now I gotta like figure that. Now I gotta be all nuanced with this. So just
Big question for you, Cameron.
Crazy.
Big question. When you played the final, did you suit up?
No.
I gave up on Football Manager. I gave up on that game when Oliver Weiss fired me for leaking that he wouldn't give me more money to spend on Orange County SC. So I gave up on that game because I got fired like a month into my managerial tenure with Orange County because I leaked to the media. Which honestly, that's a very realistic game. I could imagine Oliver firing a coach because they leaked the news that he wouldn't give more money to sign players. So props to whoever made that mod for Orange County SC and getting me fired after a month into my managerial experience. And then I went to like Patadoris, like youth team to try and resurrect my career, and it did not work well. Joseph, random thought from you.
Enjoy the beer, exchange a beer, make a friend when you go to the games. LAFC fans are extremely friendly, so find a drink, exchange one. It's all good things. Enjoy the culture together.
Awesome. Let's go to the man of the future. Bam. Random thought from you. What's going on in the future, man?
Besides a lot of rain in Australia at the moment, a lot of places are getting flooded. So we've gone from the bushfires a couple of years ago to getting flooded out left, right, and center. Random thought for you guys is more of a random fact. The reason on the Australian coat of arms that we have the emu and the kangaroo is because they cannot walk backwards. It symbolizes Australia always moving forward.
I'm going to want to test this now. Apparently at the safari park in San Diego, you can actually go walk with the kangaroos. So I'm going to go try and make one of those kangaroos walk backward, like do the moonwalk, and see if I can make them do that. That'd be pretty fun. If I can get a kangaroo to moonwalk, I'm going to send that to you, Bam. I'm going to tag you on that and be like, look at that. A kangaroo did the moonwalk.
I actually did that tour a couple of years ago when I was in San Diego with my partner.
Are they legit? Are they legit Australian kangaroos, or are those like
yeah. They're legit. I scared a lot of the Americans that were over there when we saw the kangaroo. Went because over here kangaroos are considered a pest, and we hunt them to keep them under control. We actively go out, hunt, and kill our national treasure animal because they're such a pest. Mind you, it has some really good meat. So if you do get to try kangaroo, try kangaroo.
Have you ever been like socked by a kangaroo right in the jaw?
No, thank God,
Okay.
no, thank God.
I always have that image of that one guy on his like parachuting down, and like the kangaroos get mad that he's coming down to the ground, and they start attacking him once he lands. That's my picture of what it's like in Australia. Is you like just like hit the ground, and the kangaroos just like, get the F out of this place, man. Go back home. We don't like you, tourists. Tony, random thought from you. Cameron, you already gave your random thought, so hold on.
Well, didn't Australia
Tony, random
declare
thought
war
from
on
you.
emus?
Twice and
He
lost
still
both
gets
times.
his name in it. He
Yeah.
still jumps on there.
Yeah. I'm just
Producer,
saying
mute that
there
guy.
was the Great Emu War. Like,
It's
there's
Tony's
really
turn.
this
It's Tony's turn.
I had to throw it in there. All right.
Before my random thought, I was gonna say, if any of y'all want to meet up with me, I'll be at the tailgates before the game and set up. Even after, I'll have a beer with y'all, exchange scarves. I have a scarf to exchange. I'm down to have an OC with you guys, because again, we trying to build community and supporters. It's like, again, that's the best thing about the US support system, is like we can exchange and build our culture bigger than it is. Like, of course there is rivalries that are sacred, but overall it's like we're trying to build our own supporter culture that's unique to us as all. So my random fanatic thought is kind of creepy. If you ever been to Disneyland, and of course everyone's been on the Small World, that ride never shuts down. The music stops, but the animatronic keep moving on the whole night.
So it's like a Five Nights at Freddy type thing there.
Yep.
At the Magic Kingdom. What? Just really quick, for any of the fans that are not making the bus, Russell's asking, where do you guys tailgate? Is there? I don't think there's actually lots at the Banc of California. Is there? It's all like private parking lots, or is there actual like team lots or stadium lots?
There are exposition park lots. The most expensive ones right around the stadium. There's the one by the Science
Well,
Center.
Russell can
There's
afford
one.
that, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, so there's a place to park. I believe this game, everyone is parking at the California Science Center this time. That's the one lot they're going to use, since it is a limited crowd, limited capacity. We tailgate at Christmas Tree Lane. That's tradition.
Yep. Right
So
in front of
if
the
you're
lot.
there, that's home base. That's the big grass area facing the Coliseum. That's our zone. That's where we go. I'm not sure how accessible it is in this one, because again, it's not the normal setup. But trust me, there's going to be a lot of LAFC supporters there, just kind of having drinks, hanging out. So, yeah, that's where they go. Again, we're really friendly as long as it's, not the rival. We're super cool with everybody, and we love to travel. So, yeah, if you're coming out, you arrange it with us. Tell us that you're coming out. We'll definitely have a welcoming committee.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there'll be some fans that will try and make their way out there. If the buses get there early enough, maybe you'll get some fans off the buses. The Orange County fan base is a really cool group. Also, I don't foresee either fan base getting crazy. The only problem maybe is if there's some fans on the bus that are partaking in some drinking prior to getting on the bus, or maybe sneaking a drink or two onto the bus. Maybe, who knows what happens with that, and gets a little bit crazy. But I don't think there'll be any craziness between the two fan bases. You guys aren't Phoenix, you guys, and we're not Los Dos or LA Galaxy supporters, so it works out for everyone. Really quick before I give you guys the ability to head out, because we went longer than I think you guys were even anticipating. Share with our listeners if they want to find out more, or if they're closet fans of LAFC, or they want to start following the team. How can they listen to you guys and get more involved with the LAFC community?
Tony, you want to do it?
I'm pretty much the social media guy. Well, I take Instagram. Joseph and Bam are the Twitter people. So you can follow us at Heart of LAFC on Instagram and Twitter. At the moment, actually, we're doing this new event that Bam pushed forward and we all agreed on. Is every game we rate 3, 2, and 1, so they get points for who the player of the game was. At the end of the season, we'll have this trophy made to give to that player. Just follow us on all our socials. The same thing, Heart of LAFC. We do similar as this. Ours go about this long, maybe even longer, depending how upset we were at the last game or how much more we have to say. You can follow us on all our socials, which is mine is Andes_Harris. Bam is LAFC Australia or Aus, and Joseph is Joseph Sacker. So if you want to follow us and just have fun with us, like I said, we're pretty open. We're easygoing. You can just literally walk up to us and we can talk soccer, and tactics wise, Joseph's the man to do that for you.
It's just hard to get
Let
me
me
to
just
shut
say
up.
this really quick. I appreciate y'all taking some time to jump onto our second tier U.S. soccer podcast here. We love it, and we saw some of your followers jump on here. We love to interact with the fans as they listen. We are going to quickly make predictions about our next USL Championship match. I am going to let one of you pick my prediction. We're playing Indy 11. You have no idea who Indy 11 are, probably. We're on the road in Indy 11. Who wants to pick my prediction for that match? Anyone?
The
All right,
crazier,
Bam
the
wants
better,
it. Go
Bam.
for it, Bam. Oh,
So
he's
just
muted.
looking
He's pulling
Yep,
up Brad.
Just looking at it, Indy 11 currently 8th on the ladder on that over there. They're 2-2-2. I'm going to go with the Orange County 3-1 win.
All right, I'll take that one. So, Brad, write that down for me. That's my prediction.
It's
3-1 Orange
recorded.
County against Indy 11. Gentlemen, thank you so much. By all means, if you want to still hang out and hear what we have to say about this Indy 11 match, by all means do so. But you are free to head out and enjoy the rest of your evening. Go get some sleep. Bam, you're still like early in the day, so you can go party for another 10 hours and you're good to go. Thank you very much, though, gentlemen, for taking some time to hang out with us.
Thank you guys for having us on. Again, we'll see some of you guys at the game tomorrow, and yeah, let's do it. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
I have like one thing to say. I just got hit up by one of our former supporters / works for the club now, Jimmy. He's saying that there is no tailgating, but the blue lot and green lot will be open. So just to pass on the information so we don't get you guys in trouble or anybody else. But thank you for having us. I'll be sure to listen to you guys. Like I said, enjoy supporting any people out there trying to push any soccer club further than they need to go.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And definitely, people, check out the Heart of LAFC podcast. Follow them on all social media. Let's support each other on this. Even though the teams don't have official relationships anymore, let's still support each other on this. At least it's not LA Galaxy or Los Dos that we're supporting when we're doing this. So that's awesome. Dylan, let me go to you really quick. We're not going to get too much. We're not going to spend time on this Indy 11 match. I'm just going to go straight to predictions for this. So Dylan, your prediction for this Indy 11 match. If you want to say something quick about it, because I know we have like Solomon Asante on that Indy 11 team. So if you have anything you want to say, but what's your prediction, Dylan?
Well, there's an 11 in their name. So I'm going to go with 1-1 because it's worked in the past and we're not scoring goals.
Dylan. He's like pulling me. He's like going with the same score over and over, but it's not working for Orange County. You gotta find a way to make it work for Orange County, Dylan. Cameron, I don't know if you've been paying attention. You could participate. You just have to go onto either social medias or you have to message Brad what your predictions are. If you want to just jump on it now, if you
Oh no, Alan already made a prediction.
I was gonna say Alan already went through and shared with us what his prediction is. But Cameron, if you want to start now and you can somehow beat Dylan, because apparently Dylan's like running away with us already. He's like the Man City of our prediction league here. What's your prediction, Cameron?
Oof.
Sorry, Luton Town of our prediction competition. Go for it, Cam.
Well, it's difficult to find where the goals are coming from. Most of our wins have been towards the end of the match. Just if we're looking off what last game happened against Sacramento, we don't concede a ton, but we don't score. So I'm gonna go with a 0-0.
0-0. All right, Brad, what's your prediction?
Hold on, I'm updating his. I also agree with Cameron's. What's the word I'm looking for? It's been an hour and a half already. I can't think straight. Yeah, analysis of the matchup. But I also agree with Dylan's. Indy might be 11, but there is a 0 in Orange County, so I'm also a 0-0
Dylan,
prediction.
Is an O and a 0 the same thing, Dylan?
No.
Okay.
I have to butcher it and stretch it for some semblance of a joke in there.
So Bam's already given my official prediction. So that's my official prediction for what's going on. But I'm going to still make my unofficial prediction right now. And I got to make this work because we're struggling right now as a team. So Dylan, you know what my prediction is going to be, right? He's making the face. It's either he's keeping a yawn in or he's making this frustrated face. My prediction, 5-0 for Indy 11. Got to try the magic works going on here.
So do I update that in your...
No. My official prediction is what Bam said, 3-1 for Orange County. But my unofficial prediction is going to be 5-0 to Indy 11 to try and get Orange County back on track. Let me say this, because I think Dylan's ready to go to bed. Cameron's getting a little bit anxious. He's doing his fidget thing. Brad's probably got to go do some rehearsing for his next play or next musical or whatever he's doing. Who are you playing right now, Brad? What's your character?
Actually taking a break. I'm going to have more free time than I'll know what to do with.
All right. So let us know, though, what's your next role that you're auditioning for?
I'll let you know when I know.
Okay.
How about that?
We're going to wrap things up here. I want to thank, again, our guest from Heart of LAFC for taking the time to join us tonight. They represent a MLS squad, but they were willing to jump on and hang out with us, talking about a USL Championship squad, which is awesome. And let's help support them. So follow all of them and follow and listen to their podcast if you can. I know a lot of you all that listen to us listen to a bunch of soccer stuff. So do it if you can add one more podcast into your lineup. For Dylan, for Cameron, for Brad, and then for our guest from LAFC or Heart of LAFC. And then also, hey, Alan, who's not here and had a bad night because San Diego lost. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, and we are out.